Touchdown passes last year. This one's knocked up. Bowers tips it to himself, and he'll score.
Snaps it anyway. Greer lobs it in the air. Whoa, he has trouble with the snap, and the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State. Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores on the last play this year. Here's a blitz, and Klubnik didn't see it coming. He got blasted by Kalen DeLoach, who has the ball and is heading toward the end zone.
What is going on, everyone? It is college football talk with Hunter and Dylan, as always. And we are back here post-playoff episode. Post-podcast, guys.
Yeah. It's over already.
It's over. Yes, we were just the post-credit scenes. No, we are back here, episode 59. And we got a nice show for you guys today. We're going to talk about the playoff games, what happened there. We're going to preview the Natty. We're going to talk about the Orange Bowl and what to make of this from a total sport-wise. Because nobody wants what happened there Saturday going forward. You can even take what happened Liberty and Oregon, too. A lot of blowouts. We got Bowl Mania update between the two of us. And then winners and losers of the week. Plus some transfer portal news. So we'll get right into all of it. We'll start, though, where all the main big stuff is. That's where the college football playoff. It's going to be Bama and Michigan. The final score was 27-20. It was the Rose Bowl game. It was a really good game. A game that I can only describe as the missed opportunity game, the kick yourself in the foot game, I guess, and see who can take advantage of your screw-ups the most. Yeah. I mean, just from a Michigan standpoint, special teams made a whole segment. Yeah. We had the missed extra point because the center couldn't get the ball off the ground. You have the botched fumble that led to an Alabama touchdown. You have another botched fumble that nearly resulted in a game losing safety. At the end of the game, that benched him back to the 1. Luckily, they didn't. His forward momentum saved him from about half a yard from getting swamped in the end zone. Better than not, or even then fumbling it. That was probably the more impressive thing, because how many times have we seen guys that drop a ball, pick it back up, get tackled, and lose it again? It happens. That's one of the bigger things. So Michigan, a lot of miscues, and then they weren't able to take advantage of Alabama's sloppiness. Just Bama couldn't protect Milroe. He got sacked 6 times, 5 in the first half, 1 in the second half. They blitzed the heck out of him, which was smart on that end, because Bama's sometimes hasn't been able to keep, or just consistently this year has not been able to keep Milroe upright. And the blitz is where they've struggled the most. There was the center. Miscues at center.
I mean, how many low snaps did we see in that game where Milroe pretty much picked the ball off the ground?
The one big drive.
I mean, there was back-to-back at one point.
So that was
back-to-back missed. I mean, at that point, it was like, why were they even in shotgun anymore? What are we doing?
Right? I mean, that was a huge drive because they were in Michigan territory. Back-to-back bad snaps pushes them all the way past midfield. It's like, imagine there, and because you have a kicker, your kicker's already hit 2 from 50 plus. Those are 3 points that you're just leaving off the board. There was, then of course the last play of the game in overtime, bad snap causes Milroe to panic, in my opinion, because if you watch the play, they had 2 guys out to the left. They had, I believe it was Chase McClellan going in motion. And I believe what it was going to be was an RPO, but I believe what was going to happen was they were going to either dump it off to him in the flat, because there was the one linebacker who was in charge of the running back, he wasn't going to beat him.
Yeah.
Because they had two guys out there blocking. So either the cornerbacks were going to get off their blocks and make the tackle, or he was just going to be a sprint to the pylon, and I think McClellan would have won that.
Yeah.
But if you also watch, one of their guards was pulling on the outside for a QB design run.
Yeah.
Milroe, I think, because of the low snap, did not see that because he had an opening to that left side. If he just bounces it to the outside, even if he goes straight and bounces a little bit, he's walking into the end zone scot-free. Again, low snap. I think he sped up the motor a little bit.
Made a bad read.
Bad read.
And,
didn't see the linebacker. Just kind of panicked, I think, in my opinion, and just made a play, and it just ended up being running up right up the middle.
I mean, it sucks for Alabama. To me, the moment this game changed in Michigan's favor at the end there was the forced fumble on Milroe.
Yes.
Was it like with 4 minutes left, they got a forced fumble on Milroe.
Yeah.
When he was out of the pocket, and all of a sudden Michigan has great position. They go, they score, they tie the game, and then it's like Alabama can't do anything.
It was a complete momentum shift from that standpoint, because at that point it was 17-13. Bama had just got the ball back because they were just – Michigan couldn't do anything. Could not do a single thing. They get the ball back. I mean, if they score even a field goal, which I think they ended up doing anyway, but later on. But, I mean, they go down and score a touchdown.
With the way they were driving, it felt like they were going to score a touchdown there.
They had like one or two plays. They were picking up
Michigan
bunch
couldn't
of yards.
Stop McClellan there with the pass off to the running. They couldn't stop him. Every single time he was getting open, he was getting 10 to 15 yards. They were moving downfield, and then all of a sudden he fumbles, and their offense.
Well, no, he didn't fumble. It was Milroe fumbled.
That's what I'm saying. Milroe fumbled. Yeah, Milroe leaves the pocket, gets hit. I don't know if he was trying to transfer the ball to a different hand or what.
Yeah,
but it didn't look like it was a fumble from the hit. It looked like he just lost the ball in his hands. And
he
choked it up.
Fumbles. Michigan gets it back. I don't think they did anything though on that drive, but it's the fact
they didn't do anything on that drive. It was just,
but it just shifted
play.
The momentum all the way back over. Because again, like we were saying, if Bama goes down the field and scores, like I had the feeling that if they go down the field and score here, which it looked like they were, just by the way the game is moving, they were just it felt like they were getting ahead of Michigan some. Yeah, that might have been the dagger. Yeah, and they didn't. They fumbled it. Defense holds, got the ball back, got a field goal, big 52-yarder. Yeah. And then when Michigan needed it the most, they go for it on fourth down from like their own 33. It was like 4th and 2. Yeah. And there's like 3 minutes left in the game. If they don't get it, it pretty much guarantees, unless they turned it over, that Bama, I mean, Riker at that point, like I said, had already hit 2 from 50 plus. Yeah. I mean, that was 3 points right there. I mean, that's a 10-point game with 2 minutes to go. It's not, it's not happening. So the fact that they were able to get that and then go down the field there, and then I believe the play that set up the touchdown, the ball skims off the fingers of a Bama defender. And if his hand was up like a half inch more, that's getting deflected up in the air probably, and there's 2 defenders waiting to pick that thing off. Yeah. Where that ball was going. But it stays on it, and it completes for a pass. They go down the field and score, tie it up. And then, then that led to the Bama couldn't do anything with like a minute and a half to go. Yeah, I was going to say with like what was it? They got about 130 or so with the ball.
I'm trying
to do anything.
Out what it was. Yeah, it was about a minute 30. They had the ball at their own 40-yard line,
and then they
chose to punt it. I think if anything, that might be their only because I think obviously hypothetical here. You go for it, you get to like Michigan's 45, right? Yeah. Your kicker's good enough that you might as well try to kick them.
That's why I was so surprised by the play calling, because it was a bunch of intermediate, 15, 20-yard passes. Like, You've been eating them up all day with these short 5 to 10 yard throws.
Yeah.
Why are we trying to go deep right now? Like, get some chunk yard. Just get some. I would just short passes, get yards after catch. Like you're saying, you only need to get to probably the 40.
Yeah.
Maybe the 45 to test out the leg. Riker, I mean, he's got a cannon of it, a leg. Why not?
And he's been accurate all year.
He's the all-time leading
more
scorer
than one
SEC.
50-yard field goal that game alone.
Yeah, I mean, he's the all-time leading SEC scorer as far as field goals go. Give him a shot.
Yeah.
But instead, bad play calling. And, luckily, it didn't come back to bite him because I thought Michigan was just going to turn around the way that they had been starting to go on offense with McCarthy looking well.
Yeah, he looked
he was getting well.
For as bad as we talked about the quarterback difference, I think he looked like the better quarterback in that game.
He looked like the better quarterback when they needed it the most.
I think that's more of an indictment on Alabama's defense than anything.
Honestly, though, I mean, Bama's defense had been playing pretty well. For as bad as they had played all first half, they only went down the half, I think, down 3.
Yeah.
Like, their defense had kept them in that game because that easily, the way that game had been going offensively for Bama, they could have been down 21 at the half. Yeah. So their defense kept them in it, but I just felt like they were running out of steam towards the end. And Michigan just found rhythm.
I mean, just that touchdown drive.
That touchdown drive Michigan, off that 4th down conversion.
It was a killer for Alabama. It was like they couldn't stop them.
Roman Wilson took over the drive.
Whatever J.J. McCarthy wanted to do on offense, it was getting done. When he got that 10-yard quarterback run, it was like nobody on Alabama had any idea he was going.
No.
He got 10 yards like it was nothing.
For sure. And
Alabama got away with it probably should have been a 15-yard unsportsmanlike conduct for throwing him over when he was in the paint on the out of bounds.
Oh, yeah.
Probably should have been another 15 yards there. Like, it was just like they had no answer at all.
No.
That entire, last 5 minutes of the game.
And then you get to overtime, and Michigan just 2 plays is in the end zone.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, no. Because the way Bama it'd been so tough for them to score all day, just the way how stagnant the offense had looked.
Yeah.
Like, this is not good. And so they won the toss, too, deferred, obviously, because you want to play defense first. And just
You want to score last.
Yeah.
In overtime.
Because you want to have an idea what the other opponent's doing. Because if they get a field goal, you just need a touchdown to win.
They don't. You pick them off, just score a field goal and win. Yeah.
But they lost on, like I said, I think it's because of the bad snap. The play before that, Jermaine Burton cut to the outside towards the sidelines instead of possibly cutting back towards the inside and getting. I think he might have had leverage on that defender if he cuts back on the inside and gets in, but he did pull up with a cramp in his leg. So I don't know.
It looked way worse than a cramp, though. On that replay, I don't know if you saw that. It looked worse.
So possibly that maybe had something to do with it, because I think if he cuts back goes back to the inside of the field of play, he possibly can get in right there.
Yeah.
I think the announcer said, I think Herb Street said, would have liked to seen him go to the end zone and then turn back to at least have a shot, either get closer to the end zone, because he got tackled at about 3 or 4. If he gets to the end zone and comes back, he might get tackled either in the end zone or the 1 or 2 completely changes the play. So a lot of ifs for Bama, a lot of what ifs, for both teams, because Michigan did not by any stretch of the means play their A game, and yet they come out with a win. I still a little concerned now going forward. I still their defense line is going to be the biggest question going into this next game when they play Washington.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to talk about here in a second when we get to the preview, but if are they going to be able to have the same success against Bama as they do against Washington? Washington's offensive line has only given up 11 sacks all year. Penix was as clean of a pocket as against a really good D-line against Texas. And that's going to be a story, because if Penix can stay upright, he might just have a nice another field day, what he did the other day. So that will be probably the biggest story. And will Michigan's offense, because I can tell you right now, they probably won't be able to just put up 27 unless it's a really low scoring game. Like they're going to have to put points up more efficiently.
Yeah.
And if they're not, that's going to be, will that be a decision, I don't know how I'm going to say this. Like, will that be like a game altering, outlook on the game where they're not going to be able to put up points? Washington might just be able to outscore them if they want to.
I think that's absolutely a real possibility. But, we'll get more into it.
For sure.
Talk about that, yeah.
So we're going to move on to the next playoff game, which was the nightcap. And before I say anything, I don't know if ESPN was trying to give us one last tip, hat, curtain call, hat tip, or something to Pac-12 after dark or something.
Yeah.
But they started a game about 9 a.m. or 9 a.m. Jeez, it felt like that possibly.
Yeah,
they started a game at 9 p.m. Guys, this Sugar Bowl ended at 12:55 in regulation. We were in regulation the entire time. It was about 1 a.m. before this game ended.
It was past 1:15 before Washington got the trophy for the Sugar Bowl. It was
this is insane.
Let's get the move on, guys. Let's go.
This is crazy.
And it almost went to overtime too.
What are we doing, guys? It is 1 a.m. and we have games. We have a game still going on.
Yeah.
Now, it shouldn't have been a game at that point, but Washington, knowing that they want to put the fans, give the fans a show, wanted to make it a full quarter fight. They did everything in their possibility to lose this game. But I just want to give my curtain call to Michael Penix here. Now, somebody tweeted and said, maybe this is why we should hold off on awards until after bowl season, because you want to leave the Heisman and some of these other big time awards after bowl seasons could lead to less opt-outs because you still want to put on a show.
Yeah.
A lot of people are thinking now, did Michael Penix get snubbed to the Heisman? He went 29 of 38, 430 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was about as efficient as I can be in Madden, on easy mode. This is, he was putting up just NCAA 14 numbers out there against a pretty solid Texas defense. Now, I had been concerned going into the game, could Texas's defensive, the back end, hold up if they weren't going to be able to get pressure.
Yeah.
They really weren't. Found that out pretty quickly. But is it a bigger story how efficient Washington's offense looked or how well the defense played in that game?
I think it's more of a story of how efficient the offense was, personally. Because there have been conversations among the college football world that Washington were frauds.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves. Me and you both thought Texas would win, right? Most of the money was put on Texas. What was the point spread? Texas was what, a 3?
I think favorite? It finalized. It fell and it finalized at 3.5. It opened originally at 4.5. It dropped all the way down to 3.5.
Yeah,
I think it stayed there.
Put that in perspective. Washington had an undefeated season where they beat a top 10 Oregon team twice in the same year. Yeah, and they were, they were more of an underdog than Alabama was to Michigan, according to Vegas. Which is I think it just speaks to the doubt everybody, to a degree, had about Washington. And to me, Washington has just been all year. They've made the call. They've done it. They're not always pretty about it, but they get it done. And to me, being able to just walk in and have, no offense, but Washington had to travel from Seattle to New Orleans.
Traveled almost cross country for
them. They did. That's pretty much outside of going for, say, to the Orange Bowl. This is about as far as they could have gone. And not only that, but they came out playing good immediately. The biggest thing that strikes to me is the fact that their offense diced Texas's defense.
Oh, it was a complete, it looked like 5-star Michelin beautiful entree of how to just slice and dice your way to get whatever you wanted out of that game. I mean, just completely did whatever they wanted to.
Yeah.
They ran the ball efficiently enough. They didn't run it like crazy good, but they ran it enough to keep Texas aware of the run with Dylan Johnson.
Yeah.
And then would just beat them over the top. I mean, just pinpoint accuracy. I mean, we've seen it all year.
Yeah.
But holy cow.
I mean, it almost feels like we should have expected this. What were we doing?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Looking back at it now. But to me, I'm like, wow. Like, it's just unreal to believe that Michael
pretty fun to watch, actually.
Michael Penix Jr. just threw for 430 yards in the Sugar Bowl against a Texas team that they were at. The line opened up at 4-point underdogs.
I mean, they and I'm not even. I mean, that's a pretty good Texas defense too. That I want to say though that I do admire how well the defense played, because at the start, first half wise, they and I think I might have mentioned this last episode with how second half adjustments go, which is why I also thought, like Bama was going to be able to maybe take advantage, go ahead, pull ahead in the second half, because as bad as they played in the first half, they've been so well second half adjustments this year. How sloppy, like in the A&M game, Tennessee game, Ole Miss game, even in like the Georgia game, they were able to, so. Because, it's like they were playing really bad down, but they were only down 3 going into half, and they were going to get the ball start. It was all going to be good. They're going to be fine.
Yeah.
It didn't, obviously. But, like, Washington, same thing. Games like the Utah games, the Oregon games, they were able to just kind of put the clamps down in the second half. Yeah. It's kind of like what happened in this game, too. It was 21-all going into half. Like, we were expecting just fireworks the entire night. Game kind of starts settling in. Washington.
Then Washington goes up by 10 points in the third quarter.
So Washington scores, comes out of the half.
Yep.
Just scores whenever they want. And Texas gets the ball back, fumbles.
Yep.
My goodness, did they fumble the ball? They had a guy doing kickoff. We had a guy, a kickoff returner with one hand. Yep. He had another hand, a club on his hand. We have a one-handed guy playing kickoff return. What are we doing? So they fumbled the ball, I think, 3 times. Felt like. Yeah. 2 or 3. I got to double check. But
it was 2 times. But I mean,
2 times in the most inopportune times to do it.
Yep.
So you had the one right off. They're down 7. It's okay, right? We're all good.
Yeah, they get the ball really back. Well. Let's get going.
CJ Baxter's running the ball really well. Hewers is playing okay. He's not really getting much help from his receivers. He's not getting protection-wise, but he's playing all right. And then they fumble. And thankfully, the defense stood up on their toes a little bit, forced them to only 3, because if they go down 17 there, it's over.
It's over.
Well, no,
it's not even a game anymore.
No, so check that. It would have been 16 because it was 28-21. So they held them to 10. But it was 28-21 or 31-21, sorry. And then they get the ball back, don't do anything. And then, someone who lost a lot of money. Well, not a lot of money. He lost some money to Texas this weekend. I'm thinking, but I'm just watching as a fan.
Yeah.
If Washington goes down the field here and scores, as I think they were, makes it 17, like halfway through the third, like this game's over. There's no shot.
Yeah.
17-point lead late in the third. Like, it's over. They don't. I think they only got 3.
So they got 3.
Was it 31? 30? It was 34-21.
Yep.
Texas got the ball back. A.D. Mitchell with a great catch in the end zone.
Yep.
Scores, cuts it to 6. And then this is where all the fun goes. But I think I got off track a little bit.
Yeah.
So completely off topic. I was talking about the defense. That defense, the secondary for Washington, is legit. Muhammad on the back end, he is really good. They got another guy out there. I don't remember his name. Be my guess. But they got some dudes back there in the back end. But then they got Trice up front.
Yeah.
Who's really good. And he put a hit on Quinn Ewers late in that game, which I think he had his head spinning.
Yeah.
Even though he got cleared. And they were showing Arch Manning up there warming up.
Oh, ESPN was like, please
get him in homecoming game.
I mean, they made it for a second look like Quinn Ewers was like 10 for 40 with 3 interceptions. The way they were panning to Archie Manning, like it was like, what are we talking about? It's a 1-score game when they're talking about this too.
I know, right? They but like Braylon Trice put a big hit on him. Braylon Trice arguably probably could have had a argument to be the MVP of the game. I mean, he had 4 solo tackles, 2 sacks, 3 tackles for loss.
Yeah.
I mean, just a complete animal and a disruptor. But, yeah, I mean, just the defense was able to keep Texas from doing anything, really, for the majority of that second half. And by the time Texas got going, it was probably too late, obviously.
Yeah. What I think killed Texas more than anything is Washington having a 5-minute drive in the fourth quarter to get that field goal. Because that just took all of Texas's time away. They had to score as quick as possible, and then all of a sudden, guess what? You can't.
There's like 2 minutes left.
Because you go down, get the field goal, you get the ball back, you have like 30 seconds, and they barely got in range.
And
I think if they would have cut that drive by Washington down instead of 5 minutes to 4 minutes, I think Texas very well could have easily won this game.
So what I think was the big thing, though, too, the fact that it was a 6-point lead. And I think Texas was getting the ball back. They were getting the ball back, down 6. And they fumbled. He just lost the football. He got hit and lost the football. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they did it again. Like just another clumsy fumble. And I'm thinking this is over. Like they are screwed really now because that was in the fourth. There was like 7 minutes left in the fourth. That's where I think you're saying, a 5-minute drive killed him. Because Washington's a team that loves to play tempo, but doesn't like to go fast. They just love to. If you watch, pretty much every play in that second half was ran started like they would start sending guys in motion under 10 seconds left on the play clock. Like they wait. And wait, they will just drag you out. But they will get up on the line, though, and wait. So, and then that's when they, luckily, again, they able to hold them to 7 or hold them to 3. You want to talk about this ending? Because I think a lot of people went to bed.
Yeah.
I was not, but.
I was not. You know what's funny?
I was this close to doing it, but I didn't.
The first half of the game with all the fireworks, I was barely even paying attention. I was just slowly watching, like. And then the last 2 quarters, when it was just like the weirdest game ever, I was like, I'm all in it. Let's go.
So Texas gets a field goal to cut it to 6.
Yep.
They were inside. They were about to score, but knowing the clock, it was 4th down. Don't risk it. You got to get. You're down.
You're down.
You need a field goal anyway.
You were down 9, so you
get a field goal anyway.
You needed 2 scores to even.
Correct.
Yeah.
So. You kick the field goal. You go for the onside kick. I'm always an advocate. Know that if you're kicking a ball that's sideways, laying on the ground,
you're not going to.
When has that ever had success?
Yeah, you got to.
The most successful onside kicks are the ones that get top spin on them and they just fire it and find an awkward hop on the turf.
Yeah,
those ones. What are we doing with the side kick crap? Like, put it on a tee.
It was a horrible fake too, where they had the one guy run up.
Yeah.
And then swap to the other guy to kick it. It's like, Washington knows exactly what you do.
It's always the second kicker. So
it's like the second kicker's there has been kicking all day. We know who the kicker is.
Yeah. So they do that. And it's like, oh, well, game's over. I mean, but Texas did have 2 timeouts.
Texas had 2 timeouts, and Washington. Texas defense stepped up.
So Texas defense steps up. So Washington, in theory, could have just taken a couple knees and ended this game.
Well, what happened was they
ran the ball.
Or they ran the ball, yeah.
They ran the ball 3 times. Texas burns both their timeouts.
Yeah.
And, it's 3rd down, clock's not running. It's like 3rd and 5. And they could have, in theory, just taken a knee.
Yeah.
They choose not to. They run the ball. Dylan Johnson gets hurt. And now, I was watching this with my dad, and I'm thinking, so in theory, Texas is going to get the ball back like 20 seconds left.
Yeah.
Dylan Johnson gets hurt on the play, which stops the play. That's a timeout. That's an injury timeout, which gives Texas a free timeout. And the clock doesn't start until the ball snap on the next play.
Yeah.
So Texas gets saved 47. They get 47 seconds now to work with. No, and then it got bumped to 50.
Yeah.
So they have 50 seconds. They get gifted. It could have been 15 seconds. Now they're at 50.
Mm-hmm.
The center, who's the long snapper, who goes down the field, runs into the returner.
Yep.
On some inexplicable reason I can't explain. He calls for a fair catch and you hit him.
Yeah.
So that's another 15. And now you're looking at Texas has the ball at like the 35 with 45 seconds to work with.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that the clock stops after each first down, they get a huge play to Jordan Whittington, which gets him to like the inside the 30 for Washington. Yeah. And then inevitably they get down to about the 20-ish. After a nice catch, they got reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
They got inside the 20th. They leave to like the 15, somewhere in that 15 range, the teen range.
Yeah.
So now I believe there's like 15 seconds left. And I'm going to ask you this because I know you were watching this, but
yeah.
I mean, so Texas needs to score a touchdown to win the game. They were going to win this game on the most inopportune Washington meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this would be the worst collapse in human history if Washington blows this. I mean, this is going up with Miami and Georgia Tech earlier this year. If this happens.
Yeah.
The play call selection at the end of the game.
That was the thing that weirded me out there.
Especially the first down. There's like 15 seconds left. You have no timeouts. You're like at like the 12-yard line. You need to get to the end zone. What's this rinky-dink halfback toss that gets no yardage?
It was like
burns 5 seconds.
I was like, were they trying to just like change where they were on like? Were they thinking like they need to get to a specific hash mark or something? Like, what is going on? Right? That was my only thought process there. I was like, does like Sark have like plays that he needs? He's like, no, guys, we need to be at this yard line. We can't do it unless it's right here.
I mean, unless they were just trying to get closer to the end zone, but then throw like a little like tight end out or something.
Yeah. Well, I didn't get why they weren't like.
I know Jatavion Sanders had got hurt, who's their best tight end, but a couple plays before that.
You're not at the 5-yard. You have space to work with still.
Yes. Every throw at that point needs to be in the end zone.
Yeah. Yeah. No, exactly. You have space to work with. You have the ability to snap the ball, throw it, like give your guy like it's you could give
you have Whittington and Mitchell, two big body receivers.
You have like
Xavier Worthy, who was really a no-show, but I think he actually got banged up maybe in the game.
He had a 38-yard catch at one point, but
like you have Mitchell and Worthing and Jordan Whittington, who had been your two big body guys who have made plays for you late down the stretch here. Like, give them a chance. And I know the one pass they tried to get to Mitchell, and it was overthrown a little bit.
Yeah.
But like the final play with 1 second left, immediately somebody Barstool posted like the Mac Brown 1 second against Nebraska.
Yeah.
But I believe if Ewers throws it on a line underneath like a lower just bullet kind of pass to Mitchell, he's in front of the defender. The defender's not going to be able to make a play on it. The only reason why the defender made the play and kind of got on top of him, which was textbook, by the way, and just swatted it away, because he floated it towards the back, like the side part of the end zone. If he throws that on a line, I believe Mitchell's going to catch that ball and they're going to win.
Yep.
Or what's going to happen is they're going to be tied because they're going to pull the old LSU, FSU mantra and just
miss the extra point.
Just get it blocked.
Yeah.
But even then, it would have been tied. But
then the game would have gone on until 2 a.m.
Oh, God, they would have. Although I would have loved to see that because neither team was going to stop each other. And the world would have seen how stupid 2-point conversion off are.
Yeah.
We would have finally had change. But yeah, I just think if that's a lower level throw, I didn't like how they sent Jordan Whittington in motion to just kind of like they should have had him and Mitchell near each other to almost have like a jump ball kind of throw.
Yeah.
If you're gonna just lob it up, make it a jump ball to your two biggest receivers. So, but nonetheless, though, I think Washington survives, holds on, wins in a huge game for them. And it sets up now a really intriguing matchup as we can just kind of move right into it. A really intriguing matchup here with the national championship game.
Yeah.
I still don't understand why it's on Mondays.
It's so stupid that they're so scared to compete with the NFL.
Again, make it on wild card weekend or
Saturday.
Make it on week 18. So now, well, this weekend they'll have the playoff or some big time games that have playoff implications. If they partnered with the NFL, they could have had those games moved up. So instead of 4 and 8, you could have had the Steelers game at 1, the Texans and Colts game at 4, and now you have the national championship game at 8 o'clock for everyone to watch.
Yeah.
Instead, it's on a Monday at and it's not going to start till 8, which means it won't end till midnight. Yeah. And you're not going to, you want to know why ratings for playoff games and the national title games significantly go down? Because nobody's going to be watching on a random Monday.
Nobody wants to stay up till 1 a.m. on a Monday.
On a non-holiday Monday?
Yeah.
No. Get out of here. No.
See, my thought process, hear me out. You do the playoff games before New Year's, right? You do them
you
the weekend before.
Start the season sooner in August. That way, I forget who was it? Somebody said that, kind of like what you're saying.
Yeah.
Start the season up earlier. That way you get the playoff games going in December.
Yeah.
Whether or not, instead of starting them in January, which will, I think, kind of help out with the opt-outs and the transfer portal message.
I actually think, as dumb as Danny Cannell is sometimes, his idea of having your season start with the bowl game is actually really smart because it creates intriguing matchups for week 1.
They just schedule. I don't know
because some schools are terrified to schedule good opponents. No offense, but the University of Florida refused to schedule away games because they were scared to lose money.
What do you think Bama does? They play in neutral site games. If they're not going to go for away from home, they're playing in the neutral sites, which is in Dallas.
Why week 0 bowl games would be so much fun.
I don't think. But then, if you're doing that, then strictly make the postseason just the playoffs. Once your season ends,
exactly. That would be the point. Yeah, especially with a 12-team playoff.
Yeah. But if we're focusing on this one here, we'll spend crazy amount of time on the preview, because we kind of talked about some. But nonetheless, Washington, Michigan, I was talking about a little bit ago. I think the biggest thing about this game is going to be up front because you have the Joe Moore winning offensive line against the Michigan D line, which is really good.
Yep,
can get after the quarterback. They blitz you. They love to get pressure.
Yeah,
will they be able to against a offensive line that has only allowed 11 sacks all year? I believe somewhere in that area, I believe is what it is. So if they can keep Penix upright, it still will be a challenge because Michigan's back end's a lot better than
anybody
with single set, and they have some other guys out there that are really good.
Michigan's got a lot of, especially on defense, they've got some corners who are just
yes,
they got some animals. They got some animals on defense. They
do, and so that's going to be. It will be a little bit more of a challenge, but I do expect Adunze and Polk and McMillan, they're so tall. Adunze's so tall, lengthy. He's a big body guy that can just do whatever he wants.
Yeah,
and then you have McMillan and Polk in the slots. They have some speed. Will Michigan be able to keep up? That is going to be a huge test because, again, I think if you're not going to get pressure on Penix, you're really going to leave your corners out to dry against these wide receivers like what Texas happened.
Yeah.
And it's not going to be good. I mean, Dunze casual 6 catches for $125. Polk and McMillan had their numbers too. They had, Jalen Polk had 5 catches, $122. The tight end might be another secret weapon for both teams because then you have, for Washington, you have Jack Westover just seemed to be just a third down machine converter, just completely. Every time Washington needed a first down, Westover got one. 6 catches, 59 yards. Didn't make a crazy impact, but he was making those big third down conversion plays, kept the chains moving.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, I don't know how you feel, but like I'm just thinking if they're not getting pressure on him, they're really going to leave him out to dry. And I think Washington, that's how Washington can take over a game like they did against Texas.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think, to me, the big game changer is the quarterbacks. I think we both agree J.J. McCarthy had his best game as a quarterback against Alabama there. That was the most impressive performance I've ever seen from him, right?
Yes.
He looked like below average compared to what Michael Penix Jr. was able to do against Texas.
Right.
And, I'm going to say this right now. I think Texas had a better defense than Alabama did this year. I think they had a better defensive line, and they had some guys on their outside who were just a little bit more talented than Alabama did.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, my first thought process is I just can't go against Washington anymore on this stuff.
No.
Like I feel like if I do, I'm like crazy now. Because I don't know about you, I picked against them all year long. I picked Texas. I picked Oregon. I picked Oregon State.
I think I picked Washington a couple times, but I thought Oregon State was going to get them. I thought Oregon was going to get them the first time. I think I had Washington the last.
You had Washington in the title game. I had Oregon in that title game. I really thought.
I just thought Washington being a double-digit, in some books, a double-digit underdog to a team that you beat is crazy. And I was like, watch them come out. I am concerned. The only big concern I have with Washington in this game, Dylan Johnson, who got banged up, it didn't look that good because he had to he needed help getting off the court. He ended up getting carted out. The health of him is really going to be big because if they're not going to be able to run the ball efficiently, I really do think that's going to put pressure, though, on that passing game because they need to have some sort of running game to just keep the defense in check. Because what you don't want is to have no pass and deep run game, and then everyone just kind of drops back into coverage more.
Yeah.
Or they can just pin their tails back and just start rushing the quarterback. Because if they're able to rush the quarterback and have success, it's really going to be a tough day. As far as Michigan goes, McCarthy, I still have my doubts with. I'll always be because and the fact that Jim Harbaugh had the audacity to say he might be one of the greatest college football quarterbacks of all time, an oppressor at the Rose Bowl, is a wild statement in itself.
I don't think he's not a top 5 quarterback in Michigan football history.
He's not a top 10 quarterback right now. He's not. He's a great quarterback to have when the pressure's on.
What are you doing?
But if you're looking at strictly just best quarterbacks in the country, he's not a top 10 guy.
He's not even close.
So, but he's made the plays when he needs to help Michigan win the games. Will he be able to do that again against a very good Washington secondary who stepped up when they needed to against a really good receiving core in Texas?
Yeah. And Texas had a better receiving core than Michigan does.
And will
not to disrespect Michigan's guys, but
no.
Those Texas wide receivers were better.
Where Michigan can have success in this game is not through the air, but it's on the run game because Washington does struggle against the run some. I mean, C.J. Baxter was able to have success against Washington's run D.
Yeah.
If he's able to, there's no reason why Blake Corum and company can't. That will be a big thing because if you can get pressure off McCarthy and just be able to run the ball effectively, that will really help you out, especially in play action with Roman Wilson out there. Get him involved and get your big tight ends going. That will be a really big help because if you're just able to pick up 5-6 yards of carry, you're leaving Washington's defense out to drive some because they're not going to have success because now you're bringing everyone up. You're going to beat someone over the top.
Yeah.
So that's where I look for Michigan to have success with. They can run the ball with Corum, and Corum's going to get some.
He's going to get his
runs.
He's going to get his yards. He's going to get his touchdown or two.
Yes,
that's no question about it.
If he can get his runs and just start get those, not even crazy chunk plays, just like I said, 5 to 6 yard carries.
If he can get consistently 8 yards on a. I mean, dude, Michigan's offense will be fine though.
Like him and Donovan Edwards, if they can get rolling against a Washington defense that has struggled, like I said, they will probably win this game. If they can just control the line of scrimmage, eat the clock. And that's another thing. Michigan, if they want to do anything, they can play against Washington's strengths, which is long drives, eat the clock, score. Put pressure on Washington now in that passing offense to say, we don't have a lot of time, guys. We got to go down the field and score because our defense isn't stopping them. So they're eating clock up, scoring, which will put a lot of pressure now on Washington's defense to stop them, put pressure on their offense because now they got to go score. And again, it'll make them one-sided, which is we don't have time to run the ball and do all that stuff. Got to pass the ball.
Yeah.
So, is there any big key like who are you looking out to try to say who's the X factor in this game for you?
Michael Penix Jr.
Yeah, we
come. I mean, not just like he is different.
Yeah.
I mean, just a couple other things just to, bring up, it looks like the line has opened up at Michigan, a 4.5 point favorite.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know.
I like
over-unders 55.5.
I mean, I will save my pick here for a second, but X factor for me, the tight ends, I think for me, it's going to be Westover for Washington and Loveland for Michigan. Are they going to be able? Who's going to be able to be that third down guy? Got to need a third down, short, medium-ish. Tight ends are always going to be your number one option, in my opinion. Who's going to be able to step up, be that quick little Swiss Army knife in a sense?
Yeah.
You look for, Adunze on the outside. Is Roman Wilson going to be able to have a big day? I expect Muhammad to probably be on him. So we'll see if he's able to do something against one of those corners out there. Yeah. It's going to be a fascinating game. It's actually a pretty interesting game as far as just kind of different mindsets on how to score. Defensively, Washington is okay at giving up points, but their second half adjustments are second to none. Michigan, will they be able to just ground and pound? A lot of questions will be answered on Monday. Game pick time, though. Who do you like?
I'm going to go Washington.
Oh, you just said you weren't. You said you were picking Michigan.
Did I?
I thought you said you can't go against Michigan anymore.
No, I said I can't go against Washington anymore. Gotcha. I picked against Washington so many times this year. No, I'm going Washington to win 28-24 in a close one.
So I'm going to go Washington too. And it's probably going to eat us both in the butt. But
hey, you know what though? We died together.
That's right. You're going to live and die by your pick. So I'm going to go Washington. I'm going to say 27-23.
Okay.
That's my picks. So
about
really good game.
A point off of mine.
Yes. We can't have the same number.
No, both teams are going to miss that extra point. It's going to be crazy to watch.
All right. We got about a couple minutes left here in the show today. So we're going to quickly just go through some main topics here before we get into Mulmania update. The Orange Bowl happened this weekend.
Yeah.
It was a 63-3 win for Georgia over Florida State. Both teams, majority Florida State had more of their starters out. From a cumulative standpoint, though, both teams similarly had about 27 to 25, 26-ish guys out as far as injuries, opt-outs, and just all that, transfers and all that. So a lot of missing guys.
Yeah.
Obviously, you saw what happened with the score. I mean, just Georgia did whatever they wanted to. If they had their starters the entire game, they might have hung 80, 90 points on them. So, but they didn't. I mean, even the backups for Georgia went in, shut them out in the second half. So, nonetheless, though, I think that's more of a depth thing. I've been looking at, though, the future, looking at this game, because even Kirby Smart said in the post game, nobody wants – college football's got a decision to make. Nobody wants to see what happened today going forward. And it's only going to continue with these bowl game opt-outs. Yeah. Because there's still going to be bowl games, as he said, when the 12 team comes around next year in 26. What are we supposed to do with these bowl games? That if you're a non-playoff bowl game, I mean, what is that? I mean, are we just going to continuously have opt-outs? The portal with how the calendar's structured right now with the portal's opened up during the season. You have coaching changes happening. It's National Signing Day, early signing day is happening. All of this is happening in the middle of the season, so you're just resulting in more opt-outs, a lot of transfers, and you continuously stress. People in the media continuously stress and say bowl games don't mean anything. There's no. It's all about kind of like once we get to this part of the season, with bowl season, it becomes kind of like a me before the team kind of spot. Some for a lot of teams, a lot of big time players.
And the worst thing is at this point, it's hard to even argue against them when they make their argument because their argument is pretty simple. If I get hurt, I lose millions of dollars.
Yeah.
If I go play the game, I get a pat on the back.
Yeah, and
that's the problem.
But there's two mindsets to have it. So we can strictly look at this game.
Yeah,
and this is strictly my opinion. Take it for what you want.
Yeah.
For Georgia, I think it was more of like for Georgia. I mean, they could have easily had a better and easily just as good as an argument to not give a crap about this game.
Yeah,
I mean, back-to-back national champs. You lose your 29 game winning streak comes to an end because you lose by 3 points on a neutral site to a team that's going to the playoff. And now they got the Orange Bowl, which is big-time bowl game historically. It was the 90th edition. But, like, who cares? I mean, meaningless game. Like, nobody cares. It's just an exhibition game. Why bother? But I think they said this, and they said this a lot of the players said this. Kirby Smart wanted to say this too. Like they wanted to finish what they started. You want to just finish the season out with your guys.
Yeah.
I was credit to a lot of the guys that told like you don't have to play in this game. Like they wanted to play in this game and finish. And you look at Florida State. A lot of the guys obviously opted out. I mean, and some of these guys are going to be first round guys.
Yeah,
that's fine. But like a lot of the guys that just opted out just to not play, or a lot of the transfer guys that said like this in the meaningless game, like I'm just opting out. I'm not going to finish the season.
Yeah.
Even guys that were going to the draft that could have just stayed. Like a lot of guys for Georgia who just committed to the draft played in the game. Like again, like they had no business. A lot of these guys for Florida State just said, no, mail it in, which is fine. I mean, it's an exhibition game. It has no meaning for you. But I'm just thinking from my standpoint, the culture, it's like you could have, and I know they were wronged big time. Were they one of the most deserving teams? Yes. Were they one of the best teams? No, not at the time. But I'm just saying they could have made a point and just said, you know what, we're going to go out here. Even if we lose, we're going to go out there, give it our best.
Yeah.
If I'm guys like Patrick Payton and Kalen DeLoach who go out there, these are draft guys who are coming back who will be drafted at some point. I'm a little ticked off that I'm going out there when I don't need to be out there. And I'm putting my body on the line because I like this. I love this team. I'm going to finish what I started. But like, I look at guys like, I look at my other guys that are opting out because they're going to go to the draft. It's like, why weren't you joining me in this? Like, why aren't we finishing what we started? We could have made a point today.
Yeah.
Or just not lost by 60. But they come out here, they lose big time. And it's like, I mean, it's like, that's kind of hurt though. If you're a guy who busted your tail, you want to finish what you started, but then you see your other teammates are like, we're just going to mail it.
Yeah. For as a Florida State fan, it's hard not to be biased about this, but like from a lot of those players' perspective, they felt like they were told their season didn't matter at all. None of the games they played mattered. So to them, playing another game also doesn't matter.
True.
So there was no point to finishing what they started because it never mattered to begin with.
I mean, I know.
Which is such a bad thing to say, but at the same time, it's like they had two options. They could either play the game, and whatever, or they could just not
play the game, finish the year outright. Even if you lose, you still say, okay, you know what? We finish. We start the season together. We're gonna finish it together. I think that's just the mindset that's changed over the last decade or so.
It's a hard culture to create because I think people talk about all the time.
It's now with social media, your parents, and like your friends groups, you got agents now that are saying, listen, don't be playing this game. Like you're going to lose money. And then they kind of just like, okay, that's fine. Like, you look 10, 15 years ago, like You want to finish what you started. You want to win the games. You want to try to win the games. You want to try to get momentum going into next year.
Mm-hmm.
But
for me, my thought process is this. I have a couple of takes. Number one, I think anybody's saying that it's a culture issue with Florida State. It's like it's not a culture issue. Georgia at one point had an opt-out problem. We all know it takes time to build a culture where guys will, even when you lose the only game that really matters, you'll still play the bowl game. Because, I mean, everybody remembers, the Sugar Bowl against Texas.
And so I think that's what really sparked a lot of these guys to play. Yeah. Because you saw what happened in Texas 2018 game. Mm-hmm. They did not want to be there. They felt like they were legitimately just pushed out. Yeah. So they said, screw it. They did not want what happened in Texas. I think what happened in Texas will spark the fire under their ass to say, well, really, we're going to finish this. Yeah. We're going to just go out there and make a point.
What I think sparked Georgia more than anything was the Cincinnati game. Even though they beat the Cincinnati team, they were way more talented than Cincinnati.
They had some guys.
And that was a close game. That's what I'm saying. They had a lot of guys opt out for that game. And all of a sudden, a team that I think they were like 11 or 12-point favorites over. They won by like 3 points.
They won on a game 55-yarder, Pod Lesney, or 56-yarder.
And I think Kirby Smart sat down and went, we cannot let this happen every single year.
No.
Where we're double-digit favorites versus a bowl team, and we just flat out look like we don't want to be there.
No.
But that takes time to build.
Yeah.
Like Kirby Smart's first couple years in Georgia, if they weren't going to the playoff, his players did not care about the bowl game. I mean, that Texas game, everybody remembers. Yeah. There were guys who opted out, who went to the game and just danced on the sidelines and went live on Instagram. Like, it was not trying to but it was it was an embarrassing moment for Georgia football.
Yeah, I mean, they lost, and it was still like a 7-point loss, but yeah, it was like you
had
the
game
two teams.
Feel
Texas
like
came in
loss.
With like a point to make. They wanted to go out there and win, and Georgia was just there to be there. And I think that's what happened. Obviously, that's what happened Saturday.
Mm-hmm. I think the only difference there is that Florida State right now, as currently constructed, obviously doesn't have the depth of a lot of the other
no. And that's what it showed because even the second, third, and fourth stringers just completely dominated Florida State in that second half.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's like an indictment on
the it's not. It's just I think depth wise, I think just talent roster wise, depth wise, like it's just better.
And I think anybody and any sort of roster evaluator would tell you, Georgia has more talent as a roster than Florida State. But Georgia's also been recruiting at a high level for 7 years now. You know what I mean? Ever since Kirby Smart's gotten there, they've been top 10 classes consecutively.
Top 5 classes.
Yeah. Every single year they've had top 5 classes every single year. Florida State's still building to that point. You know what I mean? So obviously, as constructed, not the same team. So my thought process is, you got to somehow create an incentive for guys to play. Or this problem's going to get worse every single year.
This is where I think they got to have some sort of governing body. They need some sort of governing body, commissioner of some sort, to figure out this calendar spot, because this is where the issue is. Because now you need to fix the football calendar. Because if you move the portal date back, and it's hard because with the academic calendars, because you have to go off that realistically too. Because now you have spring semester starting up next week for most colleges. Mm-hmm. Portal opens up because it has to open up because the guys got to go and enroll. For spring. Either you need to figure out something where start the season in like a week or two earlier in August. Mm-hmm. That way we're getting bowl games done. That way you can get the portal opened up faster. Or wait. You need to wait till at least the playoff games when all the other playoff day for the portal to open up. Mm-hmm. Because I think that's what's good. That can help because you either need to push the portal date back by starting the season sooner. So that way we're getting through our games and then the portal opens. The early signing day, I think, needs to get pushed back. We can't have all this happening at once.
You need to push early signing day into January, personally. It needs to be like January 20th should be early signing day. And then the other signing day should be
Look at the NFL.
March.
You have the season start. Season starts. Playoff start. And then once everything's done with the Super Bowl's gone, then trade deadline opens. Or no, then you have the combine. And then you have the draft. And then the trade deadline. And then you have
free agency. And then,
Well, free agency is always happening. But you have the...
Guys can't
free agency. No, the free agency opens up. So you have the combine, the draft, free agency. And then once all that's going on, then we're getting into the practices, like training camp and all that. And then the season starts. And then we start the cycle again. College football season starts in August. Get to December, the portal opens up 1 week. 2 weeks later, early signing day's happening.
Yeah.
Season's still going on. We have bowl season in the middle of bowl season.
That's what I mean.
We haven't even got to our playoffs yet.
You got a program like Florida State, for instance, right? Who they missed out on going to the playoff, right? As a program, they're not going to openly say it, but the coaching staff did not care about the Georgia game.
Even Norvell said, and we got to move on here in a second, but even Norvell said in the presser, if they would have lost the ACC title game, or let's say I know he said the ACC title game, but in my mind, I'm thinking if they would have lost that, or let's say they lost to Clemson earlier in the year.
Yeah.
Still going to win the ACC. He said they wouldn't have had as many opt-outs. There would have been more guys playing because, you want to finish strong.
Yeah. Like they did last year in the Cheez-It Bowl. I mean, they played the Cheez-It Bowl and they got guys like Jared Verse to come back and play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They got, obviously he would end up coming back for the next season, but like they had, I can't remember his name. They had a couple guys.
I mean, imagine even if they had like their D line starting, even without Verse, let's say Farmer and Frisk play.
Yeah.
Georgia probably doesn't run for 372 yards.
Yeah. Georgia doesn't put up 63 points and
if we
fix the portal, where Florida State doesn't go score 3 points, they probably score 14 points, right? If they had their D line and their backup quarterback, the score probably ends up being
even if they had full strength, even if they lose by 3 scores, it's better than losing by 60.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Whatever. Yeah.
You're putting up more of a fair fight, and going forward, it's only going to continue to get worse because unless they fix this, it's only going to get worse because now you're going to have more guys opting out, more guys not care. And with the portal, even with this 12-team playoff, the way the calendar's structured, you're still going to have opt-outs, I think, in my opinion, in the playoff games. Because guys are going to have to make a decision. If you're not starting, you're going to get out of there. Even if you don't want to, maybe, because maybe you're a second or third string guy, or you're a second string guy with a guy that has had injury issues, but he's back healthy. But you never know. You got to make a decision.
This sounds like a horrible situation, but imagine a situation where if Oklahoma would have made the playoff, right?
And Dylan Gabriel has to leave.
That's a realistic possibility that could have happened.
I mean, if Florida State...
Dylan Gabriel would not have ended up starting either way next year for Oklahoma, even if they went undefeated.
Yeah.
He would have left the team right before they played Michigan in the play. That's insane, but that's what would have happened.
Next year, let's say, hypothetically, next year, Georgia makes the playoff, which I think they will. I mean, Gunnar Stockton's going to be the number 2 guy. What if he just decides, I'm kind of done. We got Puglisi behind me. He's probably he's a freshman. He's going to be a sophomore next year. Or it's I have no business being here.
Yeah.
I'm going to get out and go find someone. Be smart.
I don't know. What if Quinn Ewers doesn't have the greatest season ever next year? Decides to come back.
And now you're stuck with Arch Manning.
But here's the thing. He transfers out because Arch Manning's going to be passing him next year.
I mean, what happened with Malik Murphy is the prime example. Quinn Ewers got banged up. It almost became Arch Manning, the third stringer, having to go in.
Yeah.
In this game. So a lot needs to get fixed, and I think it has to start with some sort of governing body at the top to just look over all this and make something work. Because if you're not all this opt-out stuff, it's bad for football. It's bad for the sport because it's just we don't need these big-time playoff games and New Year's 6 games being blowouts. Fiesta Bowl. Blowout. It was a 40-point win for Oregon.
Yeah.
You had Georgia win by 60. Missouri played one. Ohio State missing majority of their guys. And I'm not saying Penn State was missing some of their top draft guys.
Yeah.
I don't think it would have made a difference. I think Penn State would have lost anyway because of how poorly offensively they play. But Ole Miss has a bunch of guys coming back, but had no business. They could have gone to the draft, but they're coming back and they wanted to play. And look at that, they won. So a lot's got to get fixed. I think the playoffs going to kind of cover up a lot of what's happening behind the scenes a little bit.
Yeah.
So unless, I keep saying, unless, and I know you agree, but unless they get someone to commission this stuff or get a group to look at this. And you need to break away from the NCAA, find a commissioner to do this oversight, see all this stuff. It's going to be the same stuff. So we're going to quickly move on, though, because we were meeting a time, and I got to head out here in a second.
I just want to say one last thing. I don't want to take too long. If I was the commissioner, I would do one thing. I would shorten the month of December when it comes to games.
Yeah.
So that it lasts till like the 25th.
Correct.
Right? And then I would put the transfer window from New Year's Day to the 6th. That's the transfer window. It's shortened. It's not as long. It's not as drawn out. And then you just get rid of early signing day altogether. We don't need it.
Early signing day, just move it back.
If we're gonna do early signing day, move it
because there's two early signing days too.
Yeah,
make it one big early signing day,
and
that way then you have your 2 portal windows, but push them back.
But the worst thing is to me, we got to move on. But early signing day 2 doesn't really matter because all the big guys who are gonna sign in the first one, and then you just sit and wait for the rest of them.
The second wave is the post spring practice guys that know they're not going to make it, so they got to get out.
Yeah.
So. And it's a lot that needs to get fixed. It's not even crazy fixes. I think the biggest roadblock before we move on, it's the academic schedule. Because schools, as easy as it would be, it'd be much easier if they didn't have to go off what the academic schedule is. But since you have to, you got to figure out a way. I just think the most realistic option is they're going to start the season 2 weeks sooner and have the season finish up by like New Year's.
Yeah.
The national championship game should be finishing up by New Year's.
That's what I'm saying. You put the national championship game on New Year's or New Year's Eve,
if you start
the portal
the season,
opens up the next day.
Start the season a week or two. Start it like because it usually starts on Labor Day. Start it like the 18th or like the teen week, like 18th or the 20th of August.
Yeah.
And then you have everything. You have your bowl games, you have your playoff games in December. You finish up bowl. You finish up conference scheduling, championships by like the last week of November or first week of December. Then, you give maybe 2 weeks off for holiday stuff.
Yeah.
And then you get right into the playoff games. And then you finish up by New Year's. So even if you want to start January 8th as the national title game or January, whatever that second weekend of January is, fine. Get the semifinals going. Everything moves up, or finish either on New Year's or have the semifinals on New Year's, but move everything else up. So I think we're going to.
Yeah, I agree. We got it. Well, when NCAA game comes out this summer, we're going to fix everything.
We will.
We'll explain to everybody how we're doing it too.
So emergency presser. So we're going to move Bowl Mania update to next episode after the championship game. We're going to just do winners and losers of the week. Quick transfer portal news. Cam Ward not going to Miami, heading to the draft. KJ Jefferson to UCF.
Whoop.
And Will Howard is a sneaky guy to be looked for possibly USC, Ohio State. Still in the mix there. Evan Stewart is moving on from interest from Tennessee. So look out possibly Florida State, Ole Miss, USC, and Oregon possibly looking there. So a lot of big names still on the board, but should be finishing up soon there. And Brock Bowers is one of the many Georgia Bulldogs, as well as Javon Bullard, Jared Verse, all of them, but they have already gone to the draft, committed to the draft. So congrats to them. Sad face for Brock Bowers. GOAT tight end. We're going to quickly just do winners and losers of the week, and we will get on out of here. Dylan, my winners and losers of the week. My big winner this week is Michael Penix, 430 yards, 2 touchdowns, completely diced up Texas.
Yeah.
Do whatever you want. I think at one point, like the third quarter, he only had like 5 incompletions. Just insane. So he completely dominated, and he's my winner of the week. My losers of the week, the Bama O-line, 6 sacks, 3 bad snaps, which altered the game. Completely crushed any momentum or your season down the drain. So I blame the O-line for that one because he had a good play call, but the snap, again, ruined it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
My second loser, Texas's defense, can't have it. Got to be better. They played the run well, but just no pressure on Penix is not going to do anything, and you just left your corners out to dry against Adunze and McMillan and all of them, Polk and all of them. So McMillan, Westover, Polk, and Dunze, I mean, just completely left them out to dry. So those are my losers of the week.
Yeah, no, that's fair. My biggest winner of the week is Jim Harbaugh. He finally gets the monkey off his back. He wins a playoff game. I mean, it can't get much better than that for him, right?
No. Now, can he finish it before he goes to the NFL?
Can he finish it before he takes that job in the NFL, which, let's be honest, he's going to take a job in the NFL eventually. So we're just waiting until it happens. I do think it'd be funny if they won and then it gets vacated in like 2 years. That would be hilarious.
And then they give Georgia a three-peat. Yes.
But my losers of the week, obviously number one, I think is bowl season in general.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pretty much bowl season just got exposed for the fact that if
you're not in the playoff,
most schools, players, programs in general just don't really care.
I mean, I was looking at it, I love that point because the ReliaQuest Bowl, Wisconsin, LSU was in Tampa. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ironically, the Saints were in Tampa this weekend.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, bunch of LSU fans possibly coming in.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Wisconsin just took over that stadium.
Yeah.
There was no LSU fans pretty much there.
Yeah, I remember I know somebody.
And LSU won the game.
I know somebody who goes to LSU, and she was at the game on the LSU side, and she showed a video of the stadium, right? The Wisconsin side was completely sold out up into the upper decks. The LSU side barely filled out.
I mean, even on TV, it looked like it was just empty.
It was, yeah.
The Fiesta Bowl, starting a game at 11 a.m. local time, stadium was empty. This is a New Year's 6 bowl game. Empty stadium, pretty much.
Yep.
So I love that point there, actually.
Yeah. But and then my other loser is just Ohio State in general. The fans, everything about them right now. I feel like if you're an Ohio State fan, you are probably miserable about the team right now. There's questions about your head coach. Is he the guy? You just got, no offense, but as a Florida State fan, I got embarrassed. So I'm going to just say it. You got embarrassed by Missouri.
And that's an honorary winner of the week. Eli Drakowitz in Missouri, 5 wins last year, needing a season, 11 win season. Mm-hmm. It was 11 wins?
It's a big,
11-2 to finish out the year. Mm-hmm. That's huge. And now you have, I believe, you'll have Luther Burden back. I don't know. Mm-hmm. I've got to double check if Brady Cook's back next year. I know you're losing Schrader, but you're getting some guys back with a nice little recruiting class, transfer portal class coming in. Mm-hmm. Missouri could make some noise going into the SEC, I think. They're going to be a tough out.
No, absolutely. I think the worst thing, though, for Ohio State fans is definitely Michigan winning a playoff game and going to the national championship.
A coworker of mine, former coworker for you, is in nightmare fuel right now if he has to watch Michigan win. So
I know exactly what you're talking about too, and I'm like,
he says he's not
might burn his ring. He might melt his ring.
He's not happy about this. So
yeah.
But that's gonna be it for today, guys. We're gonna have a nice episode next time, probably closer next week ish.
Yeah.
We're gonna have our playoff or national title recap. We're gonna have Bowl Mania update, finish out, and winners and losers of the week, but a lot more as well, because college football never sleeps. So
right.
Make sure you guys are subscribing. We had over 180 views on this last episode, a record
pretty
high.
Good. Yeah, that was
sure. Make sure you go, guys, because I know we still picked up no subscribers off of it. So make sure you guys are subscribing, and remember, if you're subscribed and you send me a picture, free shirt, just send me the shirt. We got this merch. We got it right here, guys. Come on, college football playoff, college football talk. Get that nice shirt right there. Yeah. Really comfy. Really good stuff, but you guys got to make sure you guys are subscribed. Dylan's got it right there.
Woo!
Come on, guys. If you want it, send me a screenshot. Make sure you guys are subscribed, and we'll get that shipped out to you for free. But make sure you guys are subscribing on the YouTube, listening on Spotify, giving that big thumbs up. We'll catch you guys next time. This was College Football Talk. Peace out.
See you guys.